Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.
Why, hello, and welcome to My Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king. We are a proud part of the Bar Cart Co-op with other great channels like Distillers Talk and Bourbon Turntable. If you get a chance, make sure you stop and check those out. Before we go any further, I'm going to hand this over to Mike. We're going to get this knocked out before we go anywhere.
Oh boy, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification to find out when new episodes are coming up. New episodes are usually Monday nights, live, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Lord's time.
Exactly right.
Don't forget
to listen to these other people saying Eastern and Western. No.
Yeah. We're on the Lord's time. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Leave comments down below if you're watching this after the fact. If you're watching us live, please interact with the nice people in the chat. They are good folks around, and they tolerate us well.
Yeah, for a second, I don't know what happened to Mike there. He got a little Tronny for a second there. Max Headroom for I don't know. You're back. You're good.
I'm a little glitchy.
That's okay. Well, we can go from there. I can work with that. But tonight we are here because we are going to be reviewing Bozal. It is actually a mezcal, so it's a little different from us, but I love the bottle. I got it because it is supposed to be a smokier expression, kind of deeper, richer. It's all organic. It's supposed to be harvested from wild agave plants that are grown in a certain region that have a little bit more flavor than the rest of them. So we're going to see if that takes hold or not. We're going to shoot the shit for a bit. And then we're also going to talk about our buddy Bo Cumberland, my American Spirits Journey. If you haven't been over to YouTube, check him out there. He's doing some work with the ABV network. He was out in Colorado for a week or so doing some shooting for next year's Colorado release. They're going to be discussing Colorado whiskey. I think that's very timely. I think that's going to land at about just the right point for most Americans to kind of be an eye-opener to them. But even more exciting, this Friday is the world premiere of the Alan Bishop Experience, which will be held in Louisville for a private screening, and then there will be screenings afterwards that maybe you can attend. But the first one's going to be private there and pretty exciting this weekend. So if you get a chance, get it. It might be coming out live to the world, and you might get to watch it soon too. So before we go any further, let's play a little clip of that, and then we'll get to some reviews.
When folks think of Indiana, the person that comes to mind first is best known for his ball handling skills.
Right here, I got me a set of genuine, fossilized, here's your caveman balls. Look at that. It's 2:35 on a Saturday afternoon in the woods in southern Indiana, and you're drunk as fuck. You're welcome.
Somebody just had to be loud.
We argue back and forth. We're always kidding with each other and trying to play jokes on each other and do stuff.
That fucking brownie.
I'll kill for my brownie. You get away with my brownie. I'll kill. Give me the brownie. Give me the brownie. Give me my brownie. I'll get one of my I'll kill you.
I think I put up a poll in the Scotchy Bourbon Boys to see who was fucking cooler, either Sean Connery or Alan Bishop, and Alan won. I think there was the only person that voted for Sean was Jolie.
He is a perfectionist, I think, in a lot of ways. I think there's a lot of people out there that are happy with making good whiskey. I don't find that Alan is that kind of person. I think he's always wanting to make the best whiskey that he can make off of every run that he runs.
I want to bring that home distilling, explorer, plant breeding side, spiritual side in line with the have to make a living and pay for food side of things. And I want to do it in such a way that at the end of the day, I don't feel like I have to tell anybody I'm sorry or fuck you.
Well, the shocker to me is sort of like giving somebody the bird.
It's just kind of one of those things they do. It's now it's just become like when I was younger, what we used to do is just hide in middle fingers everywhere. It's just kind of that's what it's turned into. Every picture you got to kind of fit it in somewhere.
I can naturally do it.
How are you even gonna? I just get really confused. I don't know. It's funny and I like it. My favorite part is that Amzie winning can't do it.
You know, you say that, and I think that's it. I always, like in my pictures normally, I end up, there are all these pictures of me and my, I'm like throwing up gang signs because like at the spur of the moment, I always have to think about it. But yeah. So I think I got it right there. So that'll make Alan happy.
Look here, Amzie winning. They got your last name wrong. It should have been losing.
Do I have anything else to say about Alan Bishop? Oh, yeah. He's not a good wrestler. All right. Sorry, I just thought we'd slide that in there nice and early. Get that out of the way, let you know what's coming. And Spencer does have a great idea. We will be doing that at some point. We'll have a little My Whiskey Den watch party of it that everyone can watch. We can comment. I'm sure Alan and some of the other people involved would love to be in the chat as well that evening. I have a feeling Bo might spill some stuff that didn't make the video that evening. So yeah, we'll definitely.
It was kind of like those, as I understand it, the Christopher Guest mockumentary, movies where they shoot like 200 hours, but they can only use 91 minutes. And I think it's kind of the same thing. I think Bo has dozens of hours of footage, and you can only put so much in there.
So like we were saying, get excited about that. Let's take a look at this thing, Mike. Now I may have broke the rule because I had a sip of it already. I needed something to drink while we were watching stuff for 10 minutes. But
I've done some nosing.
You've done some nosing. But like we were saying, this is one coming straight out of Mexico. Like I said, it's supposed to be 100% organic, wild agave plants that are harvested in Oaxaca, Mexico. So this is pretty exciting. They have several other releases where like almost like a single barrel and some other stuff, but this is a blended one. It's a really solid bottle. I mean, it's very decorative. After this, I'm pretty sure it's sticking around. But it's supposed to have more flavor, more smokiness, a little bit more of everything from it being their organic version. And it is 47% alcohol, not dropped down all the way to 40. So I expect it to have at least a little bit of punch in it. Mike, you said you were nosing. What you getting?
I get, not so much smokiness on the nose of this, but I get a lot of citrus, a lot of oily citrus on the first. And then getting some floral. I'm going to pick out the floral, and then on the back end there's a little actually smoky.
I don't know what happened. I get the citrus is big. Like you said, it's almost, I don't want to call it like a lemon pledge, but it is very strong. You get a little bit of apricot in there, but it's the first little coming into the nose is very it's much brighter than what you think. And it almost smells, it's like rounded sugar notes for me.
Yeah.
Like a candied fruit. And then hidden in the background you're starting to get like these wafts of a little bit of smokiness, but it's almost like it's definitely a smoked out barrel. I don't know. It is weird because it does smell almost like a burnt up agave plant, or like almost like a.
Well, it's interesting you should say that.
Yeah. Well, I know, but go ahead.
Yeah. No, but I guess I got really super glitchy. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have a glitch night. But no, I got there's a lot of citrus, like an oily citrus is what I got in the beginning, and then there's then after the oily citrus that I got, there's some floral notes I was trying to figure out. The smokiness that I was getting, it's a slight ashy smokiness. It's not real ashy. It's not Isla ashy. And it's not the smokiest mezcal that I've had. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
but there's like a creaminess that's like feels like a binding agent in here.
Mm.
So I don't know. Like I said, it's not overly aggressive compared to some other ones I've had that have tried to be really punchy, smoky. But I'm gonna go in here because I'm excited.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The viscosity in the front half of the tongue. And I was gonna say is medium, but boy, does that stick around. It almost like wraps your tongue over time in the finish. It feels like it's pulling it back over the top. Wow. No, definitely not creamsicle.
Mm.
This has got a little different flavor. I don't want to say different flavor than the nose, but the smokiness and a little bit of the almost like a brininess comes out more so.
Yeah, I get a very heavy lemon lime first, and then there's just the smokiness is really, it's soft, but I like it.
And then I almost get like a little medicinally note more towards the end. It's almost like a little bit of a, maybe that's the syrupy agave note coming like being so tight, but there's a little bit of this that I'm tasting, at least in the finish, where I have a tiny flavor of like Lefroy hidden in here. Now it's not as overpowering, but I feel like I'm getting the saltiness in here. Maybe a little bit of brininess that I'm not sure where I'm getting the flavor hit from on that. Maybe that's just the better agave plants.
I'm getting this salty, briny ashiness, but not the medicinal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out what this reminds me of. This reminds me of a
eucalyptus.
It reminds me of a Scotch, and I'm trying to put my finger on it. The Kilhoman. It reminds me of a Kilhoman a little bit.
Well, like I said, when I'm getting a little creaminess off this. It's
not like it okay, so as when I've given mezcal to people and they don't know, they're like the difference in it is that I always call it a smoky tequila, but some people don't like smoky, they really don't like that at all. So but this as a mezcal is not really smoky. It's got the salty, briny stuff to it, and that earthiness to it. But that's like
what did you? No, I don't agree with what he said.
I
don't know. His kids are fucking with him tonight, so we don't know what's going on in Kansas City at the moment. You're good, but I don't know. When I had this one, the first time, I think it was a little more overpowering, but I haven't had a bunch of mezcals in my background. I've had some, but most of them aren't as. They were a little more intense overall. Where this one was a little subtle, and its parts were strong, but it didn't overpower. Hey, there he is. Miguel's back.
We'll try this again with a swap in the network and see what happens.
He's looking good now.
Well, thank you. but no, I was saying the Del Maguey is that's a really smoky mezcal that I like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But this would be a good alternative for somebody that they say no, nothing smoky. But this has there's a really good earthy ashiness to it.
Mm-hmm. Earthy ashiness, and like you said, that lemon citrus front is lemon citrus, like with a candy coating, and then I feel like the earthiness and all the other flavors kind of rip up like after a third of the way into it once you're getting the oils and then the kind of citrus notes off the front end kind of come in there, and then all of a sudden everything just kind of yanks back the curtains, and it's like, here, this is some other stuff hidden underneath. I'm enjoying it quite a bit, but I see this more as did you hear the background or some shit?
No, you're just the way you're talking about ripping it off the reveal. I was thinking, yeah, this is like the crying game of spirits. It's just so I a couple of weeks ago, I took some gins that I had over to friends for dinner, and they were making various gin and tonics. I also took a mezcal over there with me, and I made a couple of them. Instead of using gin, I put the mezcal in there. Now, I would be willing to wager that either Emily or the Ewalds would know if that's actually a real cocktail, because I don't.
That's true.
But all I just did gin and tonic and just substituted mezcal for it. This would be really fun to do that with.
Yeah, especially with how you could play with it a bit. You could doctor this up a couple different ways and have it be kind of exciting. Like I said, to me, it's neat on its own. I don't know if I could sit here and just drink it, 2 or 3 glasses in a row. I'm
thinking I could.
Well, I could.
A little bit of ice and some lime added to it.
Ice a little ice and lime might even be its own drink. You know what I mean? Like just that little bit of extra there might be well what it's worth. So I don't know. Pretty intrigued by this one. I'll be intrigued to see what their other releases taste like if we get to hit them up over time. Just because they had like a single barrel and a couple other things, or they made this be kind of like a small batch blend, which is what apparently most mezcals are, or at least their description of them. I'm like, but a single barrel, you know what I mean? Might have some extra kick to it here or there, or just where you love it. So I don't know. I like.
Yeah, this would be good. This is a good one. I've gotten. I kind of like with mezcals because I'm pretty new to it, at least as far as exploring them out. But I tend to find one like the Del Maguey. I like it, and I just kind of stick with it. And that one served me well. The other one that I really got into is and I don't speak Spanish. Ojo de Tigre. And I've seen a lot of other Tigre. There's other ones that I'd like to try, but it seems that the price point, the entry point for mezcals is, $40-45. There's not like there's not like I don't see a $20 mezcal, to try out with. Because what was that one?
Oh, 25.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah, when I found it, 25. So that's what I was like, yeah, that was actually a good price for where I was. And I was looking at it and I'm like, let's see what it's like. I got excited for a second. It makes it easier. It's almost like a brandy at that point. It's like, yeah, we can see what you got in you.
Yeah, I mean, you get into that price point. It's easy to say, yeah, I'll try a couple different ones and see which one I like. But when they're You know, when
Mhm.
they're 40, 45 bucks, you know, you're like, I don't want to buy 2 of them right now to try these out. So
That's
I
what
kind
it'd
of
be
spread
worth
it
a
out.
mezcal bar or a tequila bar that usually has mezcal as well. They usually kind
Yeah.
of roll over into that. Good way to go and try some there. Good
Yeah.
stuff though. So let's see. What else do we have coming up here in the next couple of weeks, Mike?
Well,
Well,
we don't have the 4th figured out, but we do have Cedar Ridge coming on.
yes, we do. We're going to be doing some reviews of Cedar. Actually, hold on a second. There's a plethora. I'm going to read them to you. I'll be right back in a second.
Hold your horses. All right. So, everybody, let's start talking about Patrick. No, this I like this mezcal. It's not smoky. There's just a little bit of that ashiness to it. I think this one would go really well substituting for gin and tonic. Try a mezcal from Vago. All right, I'll have to give that a try.
All right. Sorry about that. We got all sorts of stuff from Cedar Ridge. So we're going to be probably doing 1, if not 2 shows coming up with that before we have Murphy Quint on, their head distiller, because we're going to go over the Iowa straight bourbon whiskey. And then they have their straight rye bottled in bond. They have their double barreled bourbon, their normal bourbon that's bottled in bond, the straight rye whiskey. And then there's 2 seasonal releases in here. They have a port cask finished Cedar Ridge. That's the bourbon. And then they also sent us a little quintessential, which, if you don't know, in a lot of places was last year's American single malt of the year in a few places. And I have tasted that before, and it is quite good, but I haven't been able to do it in a review. So those will be exciting. We're going to be talking about those coming up before we talk to Murphy. We also are going to be doing some Clyde's Maze. We have a night that's going to be some of their whiskey. And we're going to be working something in there with kind of what the brand is with Clyde Maze, kind of being MGP. And we're working on getting some other stuff that's from Alabama itself. Maybe kind of compare and contrast MGP growth aging in Alabama versus something that comes straight from the farm and everything from Alabama. Also topic for that show, what's going to happen to a bunch of companies that got supplied by MGP when they're jacking up your price per barrel to 3 or 4 times what it was, if they're even going to give it to you anymore. So that's a whole different subject for a night. That's going to be a fun one. And then we have some stuff we're reviewing for natural spirits, because Dave's going to be coming on the 11th. We're going to be talking to him. You may remember we've said he had one of the greatest palate cleansers I've ever had, which is the cantaloupe liqueur. They have a couple. They have a maple. They have a chocolate one. They have a couple other ones like that for the liqueurs. But they were working on a gin, that honey gin that was barrel aged. I got to try it at Distill America, and they had a couple different versions. That is headed in definitely the right direction for a release. Mentioning releases, they're opening their distillery this summer, towards the end of summer. So they've been contract produced by Yahara Bay for quite a while. They are now opening their own place in Sun Prairie, which is just 15 minutes up the road from Madison. So Madison's getting to be another one of those little hot spots for distilleries. If you're looking at like a smaller distillery, maybe even mid-grade level, kind of right in that area, you are starting to get filled up with some. And then you got another 30 minutes to the east is Dancing Goat, which is small, but they had huge aspirations, and they're going big and swinging for the fences, and I love it. So you can't argue that. So
Dancing Goat with their huge aspirations.
Yes, huge. But that's some of the stuff that's coming up for us. We are going to be talking some people from State Line Distillery, a couple other places are kind of working their way into things. So that's a little update on what's coming in forward. Really happy to have Cedar Ridge on at this point, because I think that they are people are starting to recognize them that are outside of the circles we're in, as far as the craft world, where for my mind, I think they've been well known for 3-4 years. But on the larger scale, the last year, you really start to see that name pick up. So it's good to talk about them as they're kind of hitting that wider market, and they're going to be kind of going into a little bit bigger distribution. Fort Rucker. I don't know, Emily. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens here. I hope not with apple peels added, but whatever. I'm not in charge. I'm not in charge of people's this. And if it tastes good, I'm not going to talk shit. So
no,
I'll end with it tastes really damn good.
Well, yeah, Clyde May's Alabama style. There's the apple finish, but it doesn't have apple peels in it.
No, it does not. But
okay, so going back to this mezcal,
okay,
I'm getting a little custard, which maybe that's the creaminess you're talking about.
On that. That's kind of like I said, there's like a little, but it's not like a buttery cream where it's over the top.
No,
but yeah, and it has that, and that front part just is very sugary, and then barrel and smoke, a little bit of stuff comes in. For what happens, it's pretty well balanced. There's just that like one section where it kicks it up a notch, and then it kind of lays back down with everything else. So,
yeah, it's very enjoyable.
It was. I like this one. You can get it. It's pretty widely available and worth kind of sticking your nose into, especially if, like we were saying, you like some scotches, maybe a little Lafroig, some other stuff in that realm. It's nowhere near. I think we said Coloma. That's a very good thing. It doesn't hit that high level of stuff. It just has nice kind of a baseline of things running through it. I think that was a good description, Mike. I forget about all those. I don't taste them enough anymore. We're gonna have to like switch back for a month where we just hit up Scotch and other stuff. Like World Whiskey Month is what we're gonna have to kind of break everything back up and throw my palate into disarray. So, but I don't know. I think that's good for tonight. I mean, it's a little short, but we only had one to review. We told you everything you should be doing this night and paying attention to. We will work on that watch party. That is something I think we were planning on doing anyway, so that's something we will get into.
I know he said it's going to be there's going to be a few showings, and then it's going to be distributed online. We just have to find out what and where, and I'm sure we could figure something out because that would be kind of fun.
Yes, I think that would be well worth what we want to do and kind of fit the show, and good way to spend a night, even if it's not a Monday night. That might be a good Saturday night with everybody in the chat kind of watching along as well too. That's like a late night showing.
Yeah.
The after dark showing. You have to have had some moonshine before you come into the chat.
Oh dear God. Yeah. Hazmat or higher, or it doesn't count.
I like that. That's a good pitch. That's a great pitch for the evening. Hazmat or higher, or it doesn't count.
Hazmat movie theater.
We're on.
Yeah.
I'm planning this now.
We could make it happen.
And we will. So thank you everyone in the chat for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate it. But stay tuned. We will be having some more shows coming out with some exciting whiskeys, a lot of neat stuff to try, and some good shows coming up in July. So until then, remember, it's not the size of the den that matters. It's the love of whiskey. Cheers, everyone out there.
Cheers.
Thank you.